Ladies and gentlemen, presenting your musical guests for the evening, Drake and 21 Savage, performing a song off of one of the most relatable albums of all time, Her Loss.
When Michael B. Jordan's name was called at the Oscars, somewhere across the city, two women felt the weight of it land differently than everyone else in the room. Not with celebration, with the specific stomach-dropping recognition of people who had a front-row seat to what this man was building, who were present for the farmers market mornings and the Valentine's Day aquarium and the cigar box of the most hard-to-find stogies he brought for Steve, and who spent the years after his exit throwing shade at him on social media while he quietly went and won the Academy Award for Best Actor. Marjorie Harvey and Marjorie Harvey are reportedly crashing out. And the details of how and why are the kind of thing that makes you want to reread the entire story from the beginning with fresh eyes.
Never try to fit in when God has clearly created you to stand out. Always be a lady. And understand you are the prize.
Valentine's Day, I'm sure you're aware that he rented out like the whole aquarium or something for your daughter.
Yeah, well, good luck, homie, because, you know, Valentine's come every year. So, I don't know if you know how this works or not, but I don't know how you gonna top that. But good luck, partner. I mean, it was really nice what he did. You know, I'm happy for him. He's a great guy. I met his father and everything, but that was a lot.
The reports say Lori tried to reach out to Michael after the win, that she attempted contact, phone calls, some form of communication, and that he did not answer, that he did not engage, that the man who once wanted to marry her, who brought her family Christmas gifts and rented out an entire aquarium for Valentine's Day and made Steve Harvey cry in interviews about how much he liked this kid, that man has nothing left to say to her.
Just listens to me when I talk. Like even, the other day I had just been saying I really wanted to go to a farmer's market. And so he called me one morning, Sunday morning. He was like, "What are you doing? Get dressed, I'm about to come pick you up." And he took me an hour away to this.
And Marjorie, who was allegedly the one who encouraged Lori to reach out in the first place, is apparently sitting in the fallout of having advised a move that landed exactly the way it was always going to land. To understand why this moment hits the way it does, you have to understand the full arc of what both of these women did to Michael's reputation on the way out. When the breakup happened, Michael was the one who took the hit publicly. Lori's team leaked the news to the press while he was at a basketball game, specifically so the cameras could capture his reaction, and the image of him sitting there, visibly processing the end of something he cared about, could circulate as entertainment. The memes were immediate and brutal.
I gotta be real careful, because Lori, boy, she be in my... I can't make no mistakes. I can't make sense. I saw one of her exes somewhere at a game somewhere, and I shook his hand. Boy, I can't even touch his no more. I better not acknowledge him or look at him or nothing no more. So I'm off limits. If you are ex, your is my ex too. That's the rule. The rule in our house is any boy that's an ex, he's now my ex too. I must hate him like we was dating. It's been hard, man, because her life has had to be played out in...
A man sitting with real grief on his face became a punchline while the people who engineered the moment watched from the sidelines. That was only the beginning. The narrative that Lori and Marjorie's camp began circulating afterward was specifically engineered to damage Michael's standing with the audience that had most strongly supported him. The story that emerged, that Michael had been secretly pining for his white ex-girlfriend the entire time he was with Lori, that he was essentially using Lori to perform a version of himself he did not actually believe in, was designed to flip the script, to turn the man who had been publicly and privately devoted to their relationship into the villain, to give the black women who had been rooting for him and Lori a reason to redirect their sympathy. Marjorie recruited Lisa Ray to help carry the message. Lisa appeared in interviews suggesting Michael had never really been over his previous relationship, that he may have been emotionally elsewhere while with Lori. The shade was coordinated. The narrative was managed. And Michael, who has spoken about the value of walking his own path with firm belief in his purpose, who does not seek external validation for the direction he is moving, said almost nothing.
Anything away from anybody else. So there was just kind of firm belief that I was walking this path and I had a purpose and didn't know exactly where I was going to end up or what exactly that might have been.
He let the story run. He let the memes circulate. He let the accusations stand without mounting a counter-campaign. He went back to work instead. Marjorie's own public commentary during this period was the kind of thing that lands differently in retrospect. She shared a video of Jennifer Lewis talking about sitting in something too long until it stopped smelling. A metaphor anyone watching understood was aimed at Michael. She posted about always being a lady and understanding you are the prize and never trying to fit in when God created you to stand out. These were the positions of someone who had decided Michael was the problem, the lesson, the thing to be left behind. someone whose daughter had been right to walk away.
I'm not doing anything that's gonna compromise my peace and happiness.
Period.
So I think just taking control, making sure you maintain your power, don't give your power away to anybody. That I feel like is the key to truly being happy in or out of a relationship.
Lori's interview commentary went further. She talked about not compromising her peace, about maintaining her power and not giving it away to anybody, about walking away from situations that no longer served her. And the interview where she posted that license plate photo that said dump him, all of it was the portrait of a woman processing a breakup by reconstructing her own narrative around the idea that she was the one who had done the leaving rather than the one who had refused what was being offered. The disconnect between that narrative and what Steve Harvey was saying at exactly the same time was visible to anyone paying attention.
Said that she wasn't ready because when a woman finds a good one, then that's what you're looking for. But I will say that she's young still, you know what I mean? And I too was looking forward to them making it because I thought, oh, you know what? She's been looking for someone to keep on her arm, to be able to have a relationship with that is meaningful and then successful, because we know that the girl's gonna keep her somebody that is gonna be newsworthy, you know. But I think,
damn, Lisa, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, she ain't no joke. And she ain't. And her mama, Marjorie, my girlfriend, she gonna make sure that she doing and navigating the right way. Because she gonna make sure that she is. And I think every mother should do that, you know. But I think at the same time, she's young. I think the established relationship that Michael did have before this one, I think that maybe that social media, that all of that was a lot for him. And I think that he, you know, I will say this, I heard about his ex and him was so serious that he may have missed.
Steve refused to participate in the shade. He went on record talking about how Michael listened to Lori, how he took her an hour away to a farmer's market on a Sunday morning just because she had mentioned wanting to go, how he gave Steve a box of 100 of the most hard-to-find cigars, how he bought Marjorie skis, and Steve noted with the specific understanding of a father who knows what gestures mean, that you do not give your potential mother-in-law skis unless you are planning to be in her life long enough for it to matter.
Second Christmas with her.
Yeah. Is he a good gift giver?
Hell yeah. That's why I like him. That boy come through with he trying to impress a family gift. He don't come through, you know, I'm her father, so he bought me this big 100 cigar box of the most hard to get cigars, 100 of them in this big box, and gave that to me. He gave my wife some skis. Who do that? Only way you give your potential mother-in-law some skis is because you want her to be your mother-in-law. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm pulling for him because he's a really good guy, man. Comes from a good family, you know. So I'm kind of pulling for him, but at the same...
Steve said he was pulling for him. Said he was a really good guy from a good family. Said he wanted them to make it. When they did not make it, Steve did not join the shade campaign. He did not repost the Jennifer Lewis video, or talk about standards, or imply that Michael had not measured up. He kept a dignified distance from the entire narrative and eventually started posting cryptic things that people read, correctly it seemed, as indirect expressions of respect for Michael. Love yourself, my G. Sometimes we need to thank God for what did not happen. The man was not hiding how he felt about the situation, even while his wife and daughter were performing a different story for public consumption. And then Steve ran into Michael at a basketball game. They shook hands, they hugged. The warmth between them was visible to anyone who saw the footage. And Lori, according to Steve himself, was not happy about it. He revealed in an interview, with the tone of a man who finds the situation simultaneously amusing and slightly exhausting, that the rule in the Harvey house is that if someone is your ex, they are his ex too, and he is required to treat them accordingly. That he cannot acknowledge or speak to or look at someone his daughter has dated. That he had apparently been in violation of this rule by treating Michael like what he had always been, a good man he genuinely respected. Lori demanded Steve cut ties with Michael completely. Steve, to his credit, told the story publicly in a way that made clear he did not entirely think the rule applied here. The fact that he was telling it at all, that he was allowing the audience to understand he still had warm feelings for Michael even while navigating his daughter's expectations, was its own form of commentary. Michael's response to all of it has been the response of a man who understood that the best possible clapback was not a clapback at all. He went on SNL and referenced the situation in a way that was pointed without being ugly, essentially signaling that Lori walking away had been a mistake of her own making, not something he was losing sleep over. It was the first time he had publicly acknowledged the situation, and it landed with the weight of months of accumulated evidence behind it. A man who had been accused of not being good enough, of pining for someone else, of using Laurie as a performance of something he did not actually feel, had spent the intervening period quietly moving toward the highest individual honor in the entertainment industry. And now he has it. The Oscar is the final piece of a picture that has been assembling itself since the breakup, because everything Michael said about himself during the relationship, that he believed in his purpose, that he was walking a path without knowing exactly where it would end, that he had a firm belief that the direction was right even when the destination was unclear, has now been confirmed by the most public and unimpeachable form of professional validation available to an actor. He was not performing confidence, he was describing a reality that has now fully materialized. Laurie's post-Michael romantic history makes this landing hit harder for people who have been tracking the full story. She went from Michael B. Jordan, a man who rented out an aquarium for Valentine's Day and wanted to marry her, to Damson Idris. Damson is talented and genuinely respected in the industry, but the comparison the internet immediately draws, the comparison that Laurie and her team cannot prevent from being drawn, is between a man who is now an Oscar winner, who will not return her calls, and the man she chose instead. That comparison is not flattering, and it is not going away. Marjorie's position in all of this is particularly complicated. She spent the post-breakup period framing Michael as the problem, coordinating a narrative designed to damage his reputation and give her daughter cover for the decision she had made. That narrative required Michael to be wrong for Laurie, unsuitable, inadequate in some way that justified leaving him. The Oscar does not just complicate that narrative, it eviscerates it. There is no version of Michael B. Jordan being unsuitable for anyone that survives him winning the Academy Award for Best Actor. The reports that Marjorie urged Laurie to reach out after the win are the most damaging detail of this entire situation, because it means that even now, even having spent years positioning Michael as someone Laurie was right to leave, Marjorie apparently understood in the moment that the win represented something worth trying to recover, that the man she had worked to undermine publicly was now someone whose renewed attention would be an asset, and that the call Laurie made on her mother's advice landed in a voicemail box that Michael has apparently chosen not to open. Laurie has talked publicly about maintaining her power and not giving it away to anyone, about not compromising her happiness, about being the prize. Those are the words of a woman who built her post-relationship narrative around the conviction that her leaving was the correct choice, that her standards had been maintained, that the prize was still the prize regardless of who recognized it. The Oscar has answered those claims on behalf of Michael, without Michael having to say a single word. And the silence, where a returned call should be, is the most complete possible response to everything that was said about him on the way out. Steve Harvey is somewhere in all of this, trying to quietly maintain respect for a man he still likes while navigating a household that has decided that man is the enemy. His situation is the most sympathetic in the immediate Harvey family circle. He recognized what Michael was before Laurie and Marjorie turned on him. He continued to recognize it after. And now, with the Oscar in view, the cryptic Instagram posts about thanking God for what did not happen are sitting in the record as the most accurate assessment anyone on that side of the situation provided. What Laurie and Marjorie are reportedly feeling right now, the crash, the regret, the specific frustration of watching someone you dismissed prove everything he ever claimed about himself, is the consequence of a choice that was made with full information and incomplete perspective. Michael was exactly who he appeared to be. He said so himself. He was walking a path with purpose and belief in the direction even when the destination was not yet visible. The destination is visible now, and the people who tried to redirect the story while he was walking toward it are left holding the weight of every word they said on the way. There is something worth sitting with in the specific nature of what Michael built during the period when the Shade campaign was running. Because he was not sitting still while Laurie and Marjorie were posting Jennifer Lewis videos and license plate photos and giving interviews about maintaining standards. He was working. He was developing projects, securing franchise commitments, making the professional decisions that would eventually accumulate into the kind of career that produces Oscar nominations and wins. He described his approach as a firm belief in his own purpose, in the idea that he was on a path and that the destination would eventually reveal itself, even if he could not see it clearly in the moment. That approach, the refusal to be distracted by the noise of people who had decided to make his name part of their post-breakup narrative, is the specific quality that allowed him to build what he built without the weight of the situation dragging it down. He could have spent those years defending himself. He could have given interviews that countered the white X narrative. He could have pushed back on the insinuations that he had been using Laurie performatively. He did none of that. He went to work. The SNL moment was the only time he broke the silence with anything that could be read as a direct response, and even then it was light, a reference that landed with impact precisely because it was the first and only time he had publicly acknowledged the situation at all. That restraint, across years of being the subject of a narrative he did not create and did not amplify, is itself a form of character evidence that the Oscar now retroactively clarifies. Lori's private life since Michael has been public enough that the comparison is unavoidable. She moved toward Damson Idris, a genuinely talented actor who carries his own credibility in the industry. But the specific metric the internet keeps applying, which is who went from that relationship to what, is not a flattering comparison for the decision Lori made. Damson is not Michael B. Jordan in the sense that matters most to the people drawing the comparison. He is not, at this moment, an Oscar winner who refused to answer her calls. The no contact has become the story in and of itself, because the specific shape of it, Lori reaching out, Marjorie apparently encouraging that reach, and Michael simply not engaging, tells you everything about where the power in this situation currently sits. Power in these dynamics tends to belong to the person who needs the other one least. And Michael B. Jordan, who has an Oscar and a career that is accelerating in multiple directions simultaneously, clearly needs Lori Harvey's congratulations call approximately as much as he needs the shade campaign that preceded it. The reports that he blocked her number and did not engage at all are the detail that the internet has processed most loudly. Because blocking someone is not the same as being too busy to answer. It is a decision. It is a choice made with deliberate clarity that says the conversation that would happen if you picked up is not one you want to have. After everything that was done to his reputation during the shade campaign, after the coordinated effort to turn his audience against him, that decision is not difficult to understand. Marjorie Harvey has built her own public brand around a specific set of messages about women knowing their worth, about being the prize, about standing out rather than fitting in. Those messages are now sitting in complicated proximity to the reality of what she apparently did when Michael was in Lori's life. The shading, the Lisa Ray recruitment, the Jennifer Lewis video, the active effort to damage the reputation of someone her husband openly liked and respected, and what she reportedly advised after the Oscar. The prize energy lands differently when the person you were dismissing is holding a gold statuette. And then the generational dimension of this is the one that has been least examined, but may be the most significant. Marjorie was not a neutral observer of Lori's relationship with Michael. She was a participant. She helped shape how the relationship was presented publicly and how the breakup was managed. The decisions that were made about how to handle Michael's reputation on the way out were not made by Lori alone in a vacuum. They were made in a household where Marjorie's voice carries significant weight in exactly the kinds of decisions that were being made, which means the Oscar is not just a verdict on Lori's choice. It is a verdict on the advice she received about how to make and execute that choice. And Marjorie, who told her daughter she was the prize and urged her to reach out to Michael after the win, is sitting with the specific outcome of a strategy she helped design and implement. Steve Harvey, who refused to play along, who kept his warm feelings for Michael visible even while the women in his household were trying to turn those feelings off, has earned whatever quiet vindication the Oscar provides. He said Michael was a great guy from a good family. He said he was pulling for him. He said the cigar box and the skis were the gestures of a man who was planning to be in their lives long term. He was describing something real that he could see clearly even when the people around him were constructing a narrative designed to obscure it. Congratulations, Steve. You were right. And the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences just confirmed it in front of everyone. The broader cultural conversation this moment is feeding into is the ongoing question of what it looks like when a woman walks away from someone who turns out to be exactly who he said he was. Not a cautionary tale about choosing wrong. Lori is not obligated to regret her choices or to have made different ones, but a very specific case study in what the shade campaign costs when the person you are shading refuses to internalize it and simply keeps building. The prize narrative that Lori and Marjorie deployed so aggressively in the post-breakup period is built on a specific premise, that leaving someone is inherently the powerful move, that self-determination in a relationship means not being with someone who is not meeting your standards, and that the person who walks away holds the narrative. That framework is not wrong as a general principle, but it requires the person being walked away from to stay at the level they were at when you left them. It does not survive contact with an Oscar. The internet's response to this situation has been pointed and largely unsympathetic to the Harvey women. Not because people think Lori was obligated to stay with Michael, but because of the specific way the exit was handled. The coordinated shade, the reputation management that crossed into character attacks, the leaked reaction photos at the basketball game, the white ex-girlfriend narrative that was specifically designed to turn Michael's black audience against him. The exit was not just a decision to leave. It was a campaign to ensure he stayed left, narratively, in a way that protected Lori at his expense. And Michael did not fight back. He just kept going. And now the award that the entertainment industry gives to its absolute best is sitting on his shelf while the calls from the people who ran that campaign go unanswered. The message is not about revenge, and it is not about karma in any simple sense. It is about the specific cost of certain choices when the person you made those choices about turns out to have been building towards something that makes every choice in that story legible in the harshest possible light. Michael said he was walking a path with purpose. He said he believed in where he was going, even when he could not see the destination clearly. He was not performing confidence during that period. He was describing the reality of what it feels like to do the work in the dark and trust that the light is coming. The light came. And the Harveys are apparently sitting in the full brightness of it right now, wishing they had handled things differently. So here is where this sits. Michael B. Jordan won the Oscar, reportedly did not return Lori's calls, and has maintained the same dignified silence he has maintained throughout every piece of the Shade campaign that was run against him. Lori is reportedly in her feelings. Marjorie, who allegedly encouraged the outreach, is apparently in hers too. Steve is still somewhere trying to shake hands with people he respects without violating household rules. And the man himself has said nothing, because he does not need to. Do you think Steve Harvey has been the most consistently honest person in the Harvey family about what Michael B. Jordan actually represented? And do you think Lori will ever publicly acknowledge what she walked away from? Drop everything you are thinking in the comments. This one has been building for years, and the Oscar just changed every calculation. Hit that like and subscribe, because Michael is not done, and this story just got the ending nobody predicted when it started.